Over the past year, online security has gone from a niche topic discussed by IT departments to one that is close to the top of the public consciousness. One of the catalysts was Edward Snowden and his revelations about the NSA and government snooping. But the loss of customer data by US retailer Target in the run-up to Christmas has been just as influential. This May, Greg Steinhafel, the chief executive, has stepped down, becoming the first major corporate casualty of the cloud computing era. He's unlikely to be the last.
So, I personally think that the Target story is huge, just from a pure understanding of the public of what's at stake here. So every piece of technology that you can have in place, they had it in place. They even had people monitoring these devices. And that's one of the interesting things that came out of this, that no matter what tech you throw at it, there's always going to be an edge case where you don't have control.
Given enough resources, an attacker will be able to bypass those controls, given enough resources and enough time. Previously, there is only one question that they'll typically ask, and that question is, how secure is the system? So currently, they're asking a second question, right? If someone were to break in, how would we detect and apprehend that attacker within the network?
Security breaches and identity theft are happening with ever greater regularity, and making sure that customer data is secure is becoming a crucial factor in how companies structure and organize their business.
So the Snowden topic is actually very interesting because it's brought to the surface a level of understanding to customers that they've never seen before. So that the customer out there is now going, oh my God, my data is vulnerable. Bank, please be very, very careful with my data. I trust you with information, but I'm still quite scared. And as the bank's sales techniques, the use of data and data analytics becomes more sophisticated, that trust barrier is going to be tested increasingly, I think.
So what can companies do to make sure they keep the trust of their customers? Well, for a start, there's a huge difference between the attitude towards security of a bank or an asset manager and a free file-sharing company like, say, Dropbox.
So, there is a general maybe misconception, maybe generalization about cloud is not secure. The consumer cloud is very unsecure as far as I can tell, in my opinion. The professional cloud, and especially financial institution cloud, is extremely secure, and for us there's not much difference between our own premise security or outsourcing, either in a managed data center or a hosting data center type of security that we require and that we have. I believe that for most hedge fund, mutual fund, it's pretty much the same.
If you're having servers in your own office, you might keep them in a server room and they'll be like behind a locked door maybe. It could be monitored, quite often it isn't. But if you have like private cloud and they're using like data centers, these have like multiple layers of physical security. Only authorized people can go there. They have to show ID. Everything's done on CCTV, all the entry and exits are logged.
But no matter how much security you put in place, there's always a way to get past it. And the biggest threat to companies isn't external, it's from people inside the organization and ignorance.
If you don't currently have a policy with respect to cloud activity, you can be guaranteed that somebody in your environment is using it.
If you ask an IT guy and if it's his responsibility for security solely, he will say, I will lock everything down. But as you know, this is going to restrict you from doing your job.
The ability to store and transfer data over the cloud has revolutionized how some companies are able to do business. Whether it's a hedge fund renting computing capacity to run complex algorithms during trading hours, or simply sharing documents.
Using public infrastructure to share private information is always going to have an element of risk about it. But for now, it seems clear that the benefits outweigh the dangers. The key for companies is to ensure that they find the right balance between convenience and security. Tom Griggs, Financial Times.